Hey there, it's Angie Wisdom. Welcome back to another episode of Sharing Wisdom. Today, you all, we're talking about decisions, indecisions, the way it affects your capacity. And I know if you're anything like me or anyone else that I know, most people kind of dread decisions, whether they feel like they make bad decisions, they can't trust their decisions. They just like to procrastinate on them because it's too hard to make a decision or they're tired of making decisions. No matter what the reason is, the thing that I want you to understand today and what we're working on and what I'm bringing to you is that indecision is one of the biggest capacity drains that there is. So think about it for a second. Just mentally get to a place where you think about all the pending decisions that you have open for yourself. It can be small to big. You may think about the small things of, man, I missed that workout this morning. And now I have to think about, am I going to work out at lunchtime? Am I going to work out after work? Am I even going to make it tonight or maybe tomorrow morning? That's indecision. It's a decision that you haven't finalized yet. Or it may be something about when are you going to have that difficult conversation? When are you going to decide on what to bonus your employees? When are you going to decide on whether or not you're going to hire that other executive that you think that you need? All of these decisions that haven't been made yet are slowly burning capacity for you. And the tricky thing is, the real mind puzzle here is that capacity is what makes your decisions. You have to have mental capacity in order to decide what you want around any decision. However, if you're not making them and you're leaving them open, it's using the same capacity you need to make the decision. So if you've ever been in that place, and I know I've said it before, where I was like, I can't make another decision. You all have felt that with me. This is going to change that for you. And I'm just going to give you a couple of short things to help you understand how to make decisions and why they take up so much capacity and what that looks like for you. So by the time you walk away from this episode, 10 minutes from now, you're going to have a very simple practice to understand the importance of closing those decisions so that you can free up capacity and have more space to do what you want to do. Now, I find it interesting, and this kind of what triggered this conversation and podcast to me as I was digging into capacity research. You know, that's my area of expertise and what I love talking about. And I was doing some research to go, well, what are the biggest capacity drains? And I came across a study, and they realized when they did this massive study over like 800,000 workers, they questioned them on like what was the biggest drain on their capacity. And they gave them three choices. Like one was the pure amount of work and demands on your plate. That would have been my guess. The second one was conflicting information. So different information from different people causing confusion. That was the second one. And the third one was lack of clarity, understanding what is even yours to own. And sometimes that shows up in as a benchmark, as just expectations, just lack of clarity and indecision. And can you believe it? Out of all that research and all those people, over 800,000 people, the biggest drain on capacity was not really knowing what was theirs to hold. The indecision, the lack of clarity. And so think about that. If that's the biggest drain on capacity, and we sit here every single day with a lack of clarity because we haven't decided on something, you're basically causing the biggest bottleneck in your own capacity. Which is also great news because that means you have the opportunity to change that. You yourself, it's in your control to start making decisions more efficiently so that you can free up that capacity and use it for what's more important to you. Now, I want to kind of like frame up some of these decision things, why this is so important from a capacity standpoint. You've hopefully heard me talk about before, and if not, it's in another episode. I'll link it to the notes, that when we have things in our identity, meaning we don't have to redecide them every single day. It costs us nothing to execute. Prime example is brushing your teeth. It's part of who you are. It's a habit. It's in your hippocampus, your basal ganglia, and your brain. So you don't have to think and make that decision every single day. It just happens for you. Consider that a gift. It's free. You don't have to use any capacity for that. Then there are the decisions that we do have to make choices around. They're not free, but they're also not super expensive because we make that decision one time and we commit to it and we follow through. And so it uses just a tiny bit of capacity. Prime example, I know that I'm going to work out with my trainer on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Fridays at 5:30 in the morning. That's a pre-made decision that I've used a little bit of capacity for in advance, but now it's done. My capacity is freed up to make other decisions. Small amount of capacity usage there. The last one is the decision that you don't make. Those are the most expensive ones because you see that decision that hasn't been made yet, it pops up again and again and again. It's kind of like tapping you on the shoulder going, hey, did we decide about this yet? We didn't work out this morning and we thought maybe we might do it this afternoon or maybe this evening after work, or maybe we'll just wait all the way till tomorrow. Like, have you decided yet? And it keeps popping up and you're like, oh, I don't know yet. I haven't made that decision. I don't know. I'm going to see how the rest of the day goes. Capacity use. And every single time that decision surfaces again and again, it's taxing your capacity. So that finite amount of your prefrontal cortex capacity that's being slowly drained throughout the day, because that's just what we use to do activities, to make decisions, emotional, mental, all these things, you're reusing it. You're taxing it again and again and again when you haven't made the decision. It makes sense, right? If we proactively make a decision, we use a little bit of capacity, done, crossed off. But when we don't, we get charged again, again, and again. And if you've heard me talk about the brain battery math, I think about it as like, how much is your prefrontal cortex? How much is your capacity worth? If you make $1 million a year, maybe it's worth 2,000 something a day. If you make 2 million, if you make 5 million, whatever it may be, your capacity is worth so much. So think about that. Every decision costs you something because it's capacity that's not going somewhere else. It's going towards trying to see if you want to make that decision again. So it's important to understand that we can have free choices because it's part of our identity. We can have choices that cost us very little because we decide them once, we commit and we follow through. And then we can have these other decisions that we pay for again and again and again because we've never actually made them. And that's what I really want you to focus on today, is thinking about these decisions. Think about how many things that you have pending. I love to start with a list because the tricky thing about this is that sometimes you don't even know what you haven't decided on because it's just running in the back window. So get out a piece of paper and you start to list all the things. It may be the airfare that you haven't decided on, where you're going to go on your next trip, what you're having for dinner tonight, whether you're going to hire the person, whether you're going to have this conversation. All of these things that are undecided on, write them down. And I'm going to give you a quick exercise to figure out how do you clear them for yourself. And it's pretty simple. And there's a trick in there, is that you don't always have to make a decision right away, but you do have to schedule it if you don't want to continue paying that capacity tax. So as you look at your list, you can simply just go, okay, this I'm just deciding right here now because I'm tired of paying for it again and again. The workout is going to be tomorrow at noon, done, crossed off. Now you stop the spending for that decision. So you may have some that you go right through like that. There are going to be some other decisions that are on your plate that you need more time on. You need more data. You need more time. You need more insight. You need more feedback, research, whatever it may be. You just know absolutely without a doubt that you can't make this decision today. And that's okay. I don't want to force you into making decisions really quickly, but I want to show you how to schedule that and get rid of it so that you can close the capacity leak. So if you were like, I've been thinking about hiring this other executive and bringing them on because we really need help in the financial sector of our firm, and this would be a huge help, but I'm not quite ready to pull the trigger. And I need to see what our numbers are next month. Fine. Then I want you to go to your calendar and schedule in that decision a month from now. And you may be thinking, yeah, but Angie, isn't that indecision? We didn't make a decision. You did. You decided to decide at a very specific day and time in the future. That closes that leak for you because your brain says, okay, I don't have to think about this. I don't have to keep tapping you on the shoulder and checking in to see if we're ready to make that decision yet. That's the difference here, is that one, we can either make it and be done, or two, we can schedule it for the future when we know we're going to have the information that we need in order to make that decision one time. If you just go through your list and decide from those two perspectives, you are going to feel a massive amount of weight lifted off your shoulders. you're now going to have capacity to either one, make some of those decisions, do the research, get the intel, or just simply start ideating and performing at a different level. But again, that is where you hold the power, is being able to create the capacity for yourself by solving some of these indecisions. Now, when I think about the different ways that you can do this, you can think about proactively make decisions, but I also want you to think about what else can you decide proactively? Because as I was doing this research, it occurred to me the morning mindset journal. If you use that, then you know what I'm talking about. So many people will say to me, you know, one of the best things I get from that morning mindset journal is the fact that like I feel more organized, I feel more clear, I feel more centered. The day just unfolds differently. I want to bring your awareness around it is that because you've made so many decisions in that process in the morning. So think about it. If you get up and before you've done anything else in your day and you start deciding what your intentions are, what your affirmations are, how you feel and what you want to do about it, your visualization, like all of these prompts, you're being really decisive. You're clearing capacity and taking away that ambiguity of your day. You're taking away that lack of clarity that most people walk into every single day, not knowing what they're going to do, how they're going to spend their time, why it matters. All of that is what slowly drains the capacity. So I'm giving you two spaces. I don't want to overwhelm you. I just want you to walk away with the idea that one, you can make decisions and create capacity. Two, you can schedule decisions and also create capacity from that perspective. And three, you could prompt yourself every single morning proactively about where you need to make decisions and free up a tremendous amount of capacity to move throughout your day. It's that simple. So the only thing to decide is when you're going to start making your decisions. I've given you a whole format, list them out, go through them, make them now, schedule them later, create your day proactively, and you will see a tremendous amount of capacity come back into your day. Because I know one thing for sure, we've got more on our plates than ever before, but if we go back to that research study, it's not really about what's on our plate that's causing the drain on capacity. It's about the lack of clarity and the indecisiveness about what's on our plate. And that's where you hold the power to make a change. So go out there, make some decisions, create some capacity, and do me a favor. You know somebody else, just like I do, who dreads the decisions, who is pending a whole lot of them on their plate and thinking, I've got to make some decisions here. Send them this episode, do them a favor, help them make decisions and understand why it's so important, help them create capacity and share the love there. That's it. Go make decisions, create capacity, and I'll see you next time.